Hey, what's up guys, it's BenBonk and welcome back to the 17th Slimekeep Devlog. In this devlog, I made 3 new slimes for the game, along with some more small changes. Also, if you're new here, Slimekeep is a fast-paced roguelike where you must kill and capture slimes to stop the corruption that has infected your land. But without further ado, let's get into it. First up, I realized that every projectile in the game has an incorrect pixels per unit size. This is just a result of some old sprite practices that went unnoticed for quite a while. So I scaled up the projectiles in the game, and now they were the correct pixel size, which made them look a bit bigger in the scene. Next, I finished up working on the splitter slime. In the last devlog, I got him about 90% done, so I wanted to make sure to finish up that remaining 10%. So I did this by making some smaller changes to the animations, fixing a few glitches, and adding an upgrade system to the mini splitter slime. With all that done, the splitter slime was feeling much better in my opinion, and now things look a little more fluid and natural. And also the mini splitter slime can upgrade. Actually, before I move on to working on the next slime, I'm very happy to announce that Slimekeep finally has a Steam page. This was quite a process to set up, and the Steam page is in no way final, but it's finally here, so it'd mean a ton for me if you'd consider checking it out and wishlisting Slimekeep on Steam. This is by far the best way to support me right now, and wishlists on Steam massively help the Steam algorithm. It only takes a few clicks to do so, so it'd mean a ton to me. Thanks. Another thing I worked on was improving the Slime Pet AI. Previously, the slime pet was a little dumb, and all he really did was just follow the player no matter what, and if an enemy was in range, only then he would attack. So I wanted to fix this, and I did that by working on some new slime pet AI. This is pretty simple to do, and nothing really that complex, but I just made it so that when the slime pet detects he's in a room, he will then search for the closest enemy in that room. Then, he'll go off and attack that enemy and return to following the player. Once the slime pet can attack again, he'll continue doing this until there aren't any more enemies in the room. Finally, when that happens, the slime pet will return to its normal state of following the player. After all that code was written, here's what the slime pet looked like now. As you can see, he'll follow the player and then detect an enemy, and then go out and attack that enemy. He will then return to the player and repeat this process. This is just a small but pretty important change in my opinion, so let me know what you think. I also have gotten a lot of feedback that the pet slime blends in too much with the enemy slimes and is hard to tell apart. So to fix this, I started making some new concepts for the pet slime. I messed around a lot with outlines and colors and did tons of testing. After quite a few different versions of the pet slime and some feedback from my Discord server, I settled on this. Now the pet slime is kind of inverted and I think it looks kind of cool, but I'm not totally sure if this will be his final art style, so please let me know what you think of him in the comments or my Discord server, as it really helps me out. I also fixed the pet slime's rotation code, as previously you can see he doesn't always look towards the player. So I fixed that, and I also made it so this new code will work when the pet slime locks onto an enemy and makes it so it will always face that enemy. Next up, I started working on a new enemy for the game. I decided to work on a shield slime, who would be a bit of a contrast from other slimes in the game, in which he's more of a defensive slime rather than an offensive slime. But before I continue with the video, I'd like to thank the sponsor of this video, Core. Core is a new free game creation platform that allows you to build, publish, and play games. If you're just starting out with game development, Core is a great choice and allows you to quickly create your own games and is especially useful if you want to set up a 3D multiplayer game. And the best part is, you don't even need to know how to code, so you can get started making games instantly with their thousands of free, high-quality music, sound, and art assets with no coding required. But if you'd like to go deeper, feel free to create your own game logic in Lua. You can build games completely from scratch or remix and reimagine content from other Core users. And when you're ready to publish, your game will go live on the Core platform, all with the click of a button. Core also handles all the hassle involved with multiplayer networking for you, and they recently announced their latest jam, the Core Invitational Game Jam. A jam running from March 4th to April 5th with $120,000 in prizes. Applications are open now, so make sure to check it out as no prior experience is needed. Thanks again to Core for sponsoring this video. I then started working on some art, and my plan for the slime was that he was going to be a typical slime that has a shield that will rotate towards the player, blocking bullets. This slime also, instead of moving towards the player, would move towards nearby enemies to protect them from the player's bullets. After a bit of work, I finished up all the art for the shield slime, and I moved on to the programming part. And after working on the shield logic for a little bit, I got the sprite to change depending on the player's location. I also got the shield to start rotating a bit when the player's Y position exceeds the shield's Y position. This was kind of a pain dealing with Unity's rotation system, but I'm glad I got it worked out. Also, I added a collider to the shield so it can block bullets. Later, I set up the slime's animations and some really basic logic, so that now the shield slime will move towards the closest enemy slime in the room. As you can see, this is a start, but things weren't looking too good. The shield slime would awkwardly bump into the slime it's trying to protect, making it so it doesn't really do a good job of protecting its desired slime from the player. To fix this, I turned the shield slime's colliders into triggers, which required a bit of a rework on handling projectiles for the slimes, but in the end, I got it working, and now the shield slime did a bit of better job protecting. However, I still wasn't fully satisfied. Sometimes the slime would move mid-jump and make things look really awkward, and he wasn't really getting in front enough of his target slime to actually block bullets. So I proceeded to spend quite a while back at work trying to come up with a good solution. I decided to switch the shield slime from jumping to squirming around on the ground, as I thought this would help him protect slimes a bit better. I thought this was a step in the right direction, but the shield slime still wouldn't move in front of his target slime. So I tried to fix this in code, all to no success, but while testing, I actually made some changes to the pathfinding component and made the slime sort of slide a bit too far in front of its target slime, which I thought worked actually pretty well. I then proceeded to spend a bunch of time setting up animations for the larger shield slimes and fixing some issues with the shield. After that, the shield slime could finally grow. Also, I made sure to have it so the shield slime isn't overpowered with the shield, and the shield can only rotate so far behind him, making the top of the shield slime vulnerable, along with the front corners. Now all the shield slime really needed was some death animations and a death state. So I made a death animation for all the shield slimes, along with shield break animations, which took way too long to make. And after setting them up, here's what the death looked like. Finally, I made it so that when there's no enemies besides the shield slime left in a room, the shield slime will move towards the player, and with that said, the shield slime was finally done. Next up, I cleaned up a bit of the general enemy code, which was very overdue, and started working on the next slime, which would be the box slime / square slime. Sir Stoats, a BenBonk Game Jam winner and creator of the almighty Swole Slime, created these concepts for the square, so I nabbed those and made some animations for them and started setting them up in Unity. My plan for this slime was to have him move around the room in 4 directions only, unlike other slimes who have 8 directional movements. Then, if he detected a player was in front of him, he would charge towards the player, kinda like the cube enemies, and enter the gungeon. After I set up the animations, I kinda ran into a problem. I wanted this square slime to use A-star pathfinding for his movement, but I noticed that I could only choose between 4 and 8 directional movement for a scene. I later figured out that I probably could have used multiple agent types in A-star, but let's just ignore that for now. I tried giving the slime 8 directional movements, but things just didn't feel right, so I scrapped that, and I was really lost on what to do for a while. But eventually, I decided to create my own kind of simple AI system for the square slime. So I got to programming, and little did I know, I was in for quite a ride. My plan was for the slime to move towards the player just by getting the direction that's closest to the square slime and moving towards that direction for a few seconds. Also, the square slime could attack the player if it detected him in any of the 4 directions of the square slime. After some work, I got a basic system in place. Right now, he was kind of a fast boy, but it was at least a start. I then tried to add the attack to the slime, but that's when things kind of started to go a bit downhill. First up, I noticed that my player didn't actually take damage from the square slime and all the slimes in the game properly, but thankfully that wasn't too hard to fix, but the real problem came when trying to detect the player to attack. Pretty much, I was using 2 box triggers as children of the square slime to detect if the player was in range, but this ended up making so the triggers would damage the player. After some headaches, I realized that I could use Unity's collision matrix to fix this. However, things weren't done there. I decided to switch the movement for the square slime to be totally random to make him a bit more unpredictable, but in doing this, there was a really annoying problem where sometimes he would just move in a direction where there's a wall, making it look like the slime wasn't moving at all, which was kind of just awkward and got on my nerves. I thought that this would be a simple fix with raycast, but unfortunately I just couldn't get them working for some reason, and I almost considered giving up on this small issue. I'll spare you all the time and explanations, but overall I went through so many different versions of moving and attacking systems, and eventually I switched from using box triggers to raycast, which took quite a few times to figure out completely. Most of my problems occurred because my raycasts were acting up, and I finally realized that most of the time they were either colliding with themselves or the floor collider, which wasn't ideal. Eventually, now the square slime would randomly move across the map and would never move in the direction where there's a wall next to him. Also, if he detects the player, he'll briefly pause, an exclamation point will appear, and then he'll charge towards the player. I then worked on adding some simple animations, fixing a few more issues, and finally, after way too much time, the square slime was finally complete. Yeah, he still wasn't perfect, but I was just really eager to start working on the next slime, and thankfully this next slime was actually really easy to implement. My idea for this next slime was a sleepy slime, who's a slime that I've gotten a few suggestions for in the past, and I've been planning to add this guy for a while. My man Sturstoats again made some concepts for this guy, and so I took those concepts, added a gown to each of these slimes, which I think is a really nice touch. I then started making some animations, and my plan for the slime was to have him be a slime who just sits on the ground and sleeps. However, once the slime is hurt, he wakes up, gets angry, and starts spewing projectiles in all directions. My goal in Slimekeep is to make each slime feel really unique, so I think this guy definitely works well. Anyways, after the animations were done, I imported them into Unity, set them up, and started doing a bit of basic programming to create the mechanic of an attack with a bunch of projectiles. This was actually pretty easy to do, because I have an inaccuracy variable for projectiles that I can configure. So I just set this to 360, made a function to constantly shoot projectiles, and things were looking pretty good. Next, I set up some more animations I'd made it so the slime could grow, and now the sleepy slime was pretty much done. I also made sure to make it so that depending on the stage of the slime, the projectiles he shoots will have different fire rates and sizes for the projectiles. Overall, I'm pretty happy with this slime. He's unique and took just over 2 days to complete, which is extremely fast for me because sometimes slimes can take a whole week or even more depending on the challenges I run into and the complexity of the slime. The next slime I started working on was a poison/acid slime. I've had this idea for a while and so many people have suggested it, so I got to work. My man GVon64 in my Discord server made some concepts, so I took those concepts and made another stage and edited the animations. My plan for the slime was to have him leave a trail of poison behind him when he moves. Additionally, he'll squish down and leave a pool of poison before he upgrades. I then set up the animations and tried to make a basic slime trail mechanic. All this was really doing was constantly instantiating a poison goop game object that has a collider that will damage the player when he touches it. I then proceeded to mess around with this trail effect, but I'm not really sure about it, and I couldn't really get it to look the way I wanted. Additionally, I doubt it's too performant to instantiate a game object every 20th of a second. I also added this fade out effect when there's no more enemies left in the room, but I kinda stopped working on the game there because I had to get this video out, but if you have any ideas for how I can go about creating a trail system, please let me know. But that's gonna be the end of this video. If you like this video, please consider leaving a like or subscribing as it means a lot to me. Additionally, if you haven't already, please consider wishlisting Slimekeep on Steam. I know it doesn't sound like much, but it really helps out with the Steam algorithm, and it just takes a few clicks to do. Also, make sure to check out Core, link in the description. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.